thank you for joining us here on Film in Minnesota. I'm your host, Alan Tracy.
And I'm just going to mess everything up. I'm Rahana Power.
And today we have Ira Livingston joining us once again, Ira.
Yeah.
Ira.
I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you back. We have all sorts of things that we want to talk about and jump in on, but we were just having a really good conversation and I don't want to drop that. So you were saying that you've read like 69 books so far this year already?
Yeah. So I jump between, actually, every bathroom has a book.
Mm-hmm.
My nightstand has a pile of books. And then because, I used to drive around a lot and get stuck in rush hour traffic. Since the pandemic, I've been completely at home. But I'm a huge fan of Audible. So wherever I'm driving, I'm listening to a book. And then if I walk around to walk the dogs, I've usually got a book going in the background too. Mm-hmm. And now I've switched it to, even if I'm doing laundry and dishes, I'll just put that in the background for noise and stuff. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I really wanted to read a lot more once like quarantine hit. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity.
Right.
What else am I going to do with my life? And then I read like 2 books.
Right.
I was like, wait a second. So I just finished one. I just started another, but I'm trying to like really look for some good reads or even, really good books on Audible.
Right.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Love the idea of going for a walk and just being able to focus. I'm hoping that helps with the cold weather once that hits too. Still gets you out. What are like a couple of your favorites that you've read or listened to so far this year?
So this year is I'm focusing on a lot of history. So I've read like To Wake the Giant, which is by one of my favorite authors, Jeff Sharara. Mm-hmm. It's all about the Battle of Pearl Harbor. He just came out with a new one called The Eagle's Claw, which is about the Battle of Midway, which I haven't started yet. Wow. The other stuff that I really get into is like the personal memoirs. So I had actually he's a partner of my wife's, a family physician, and his wife passed away from brain cancer. Mm. And he wrote a novel called I Got to Live with an Angel, which is all about his wife's struggle against cancer, but then it's a completely reflective story of how they met each other and made a family and all of this. And it's being that personal connection it's one of those that just is really, really good.
Yeah.
And he's of course a Minnesota writer, so it's local too. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of the political stuff, just to keep my mind fresh on that. I went back and reread the Silmarillion by Tolkien, because the TV show is going to be based on the first stage, if you remember that.
Yep.
So I had to refresh myself on that stuff. And then I try every once in a while just to keep on our stuff. So I've read John Bedham's on directing actors. Mm-hmm. And so it's a technical thing. I'm reading about storyboards right now because I'm trying to, I don't know if you've been on the national thing, but there's a COVID package that you can test for. And so it's I can send you guys the link after we're done here. But what it is you take the first test. The test is relatively easy, but it's how to be a producer on set and make sure that you're completely COVID compliant.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And so you have to get, I think it's 80% or above, and then they give you a certificate. And then I haven't taken the paid one, but the paid one's a little more extensive.
Mm-hmm.
But then they add your name into the national roster for, hey, these guys are completely COVID compliant. They know how to, organize, wipe down crews, keep people off of set. So it's a limited amount of people and all of that, which is kind of the reason I'm going into storyboarding, is because I've got a couple of shorts and then we need to do some pickups for a pilot that we're doing. But really want to try to utilize the camera in a way that we can shoot so people in the camera, it looks like they're closer than they are, but we've got boundaries in there that people are still safe.
Yeah.
Which is kind of my big thing. And right now it was funny. We're going to talk about the 50-50. I can leave that till later, but this year I decided to do something completely out of the blue that I was struggling with as far as teams and stuff. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this just to prove that you can do it. And like I said, we'll talk about that when we get to the 50-50. So,
yeah.
Cool. So you've been keeping pretty busy during both the lockdown and, present day. So.
Yeah, exactly. The lockdown really set me back. I mean, as far as the 50-50, it shut us down completely for a year. We weren't able to do anything, and we didn't want to. It shut down the pilot episode that we were shooting it's kind of a history channel type, a history log type thing. We were about to go into shooting the reenactments and stuff, and then it just kind of put everything on hold.
Right.
So that's where we're at. We're doing that. And then I turned around and started to write, really just kind of focus on, it started out with like shorts, but now the shorts are starting to link together. So it's going to kind of be like an anthology series, cool. Modern Love and that type of thing.
Oh, okay.
But a lot more heavier and stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure you're having a lot of fun writing and reading. Are you getting inspiration from what you're reading too, or?
Sometimes. I mean, the interesting thing, like I've written a piece about suicide, which was heavy. I sent it to the actor that we're thinking of casting. I sent it to my DP and then another close contact of mine. And all of them were like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then lo and behold, several, because I wrote that in 2020. This year, my older brother lost his struggle with mental illness and took his own life. And so everybody, when they saw that I posted that on Facebook, they're like, okay, well, that movie's pretty much out of the picture. And I'm like, no, that movie is more important than ever. So, wow. So now we're just waiting for, vaccines and to turn the balance of time and we'll start shooting that hopefully next summer. And then I've got a couple other shorts that are kind of tied into that, different batches of characters, because the whole premise of that is right now the working title's 365, and what they are is every episode is just a day in someone's life, and so if you think of like a soap opera, right? So you have tons and tons of characters, but unlike a soap opera, the police captain doesn't know the person that owns the donut shop, and nobody really knows each other. So you'll see these characters pass in the background, but they don't necessarily have anything to do with each other. That's just their world that they live in.
Yeah. Well, I'm very sorry to hear about your brother's passing. So
yeah, no problem.
So sorry.
Yeah. And especially also with like lockdown with 50/50, you guys weren't able to have events for people and to have people showcase their works. And it's kind of been it was obviously a muted year. I guess how have you maybe adjusted now with the 50/50, the with what's kind of coming about now, perhaps, and what can you say about like what's happening now with is it Hallows Eve that's happening?
Yeah, so Hallows Eve is going to come towards the end of October. We're trying to nail it down for October 27th.
Okay.
Once I get the location locked, I'll release that, but that's still kind of up in the air. The unique thing about the 50/50 is that even during COVID, I was still working connections and stuff like that. So the biggest thing that happened with the 50/50 is that we were able to make a connection with a company that's based out of LA and New Mexico. And they're a distribution company. So whatever films people are making for the 50/50, we're just boxing them up and sending them out there. And then they'll make a decision for their company is, if they see potential, they'll give you representation and work some deal out with the filmmaker themselves. We'll just become the funnel to get films out to other people to be able to see. And hopefully you can get a distribution job and start making money off your little short film, or at least somebody looks at it and goes, oh my God, your writing was fantastic. We'd like to bring you in as a spot writer on this other, script, clean it up, and get representation that way.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So
it seems like things have really kind of grown and expanded since we talked to you last.
Right. So we went from that to we still got the Minnesota challenge. We've now pushed in. I'm in negotiations with North Dakota jumping on. Wisconsin's going to probably jump on too. So we'll be more of a regional competition. I am still trying to push out into LA to have a California competition, Atlanta, and all of that, and then turn around and change the rules and stuff. So if you go to our site, you get of course the monthly challenges, which is romance, kick-ass action, April Fools. All of those are starting in February and going all the way till October. We've got those bigger kind of national, international challenges. Most of them will end up probably becoming international because like the kick-ass action, I've already got a team lined up to compete from Bulgaria that wants to submit. So I'm anxious to see what they do. For Hallows Eve, I believe we've got is it British or is it from the UK or is it from France? There's a European film in the mix. Again, there's another Iraq, I think a film from Iraq or Iran. And then India is also back into the mix. And then a bunch of, from the local side, and then a couple from LA coming back into play. And we've made it more easy to access. I mean, if you, like I said, if you go to, let's see here, I'll bring up our, let's go to rules.
Yeah, you have quite a few different challenges here, I mean, like you said, there's like 10 or maybe 11 challenges here, with the feature and screenplay challenge also in the mix.
Yep.
So it's I'll just go through them so everyone knows. There's the romance challenge, kick-ass action, April Fool's comedy, an iPhone or mobile device challenge, LGBTQ challenge, freedom challenge, kids film challenge, hope challenge, Hallows Eve challenge, and 50 states challenge.
Right. So
you've carved out quite a workload for yourself, I think, huh?
Yeah. So hopefully the 50 states challenge becomes 50. Each state has its own competition.
Yeah. So you need like an ambassador from each state to represent. Correct. Kind of like 48, but 50-50.
Correct. And then if you go to the rules segment, it goes into more detail at that first box, which is, what exactly are the challenges. That explains that. But then what I did is, because here in Minnesota, and I'm sure it's like this everywhere, is that you have these places that are so inundated with so many competitions. I mean, there's a 48-hour film project. There's here we've got the Professional Z Fest. That goes on. We've got, even though they've stopped doing a theater release, it's still completely digital, which is the 100-hour film racing, the 50-hour film racing. And I think they do a Halloween scary film racing too.
In the Film Score Fest now.
Right. And so you've got all of these festivals, and I don't want to detract from those. I mean, I think they encourage people to, if you've only got a weekend to make a film, guess what? Make a film on that weekend. But what I wanted to do is create a venue where people start thinking about their film outside of that festival, right? So let's say you make a film for the 48-hour film project. What do you do after you've made that film? Only a limited amount of people I've seen turn around and go, okay, I'm going to submit this to XYZ festival, or I'm going to submit this to here, or all of that. So again, if you go to our rules section, and that center is, are you a weekend filmmaker? Guess what? I give you the rules on how to, do that 48-hour film project, but then notify us and register at the same time for the 50-50. And you've got 48 hours or 48 days after that competition to fix your film and get it up to the level of a 50-50.
That's fantastic.
Right? So with that aspect, any of these other competitions, that film can be shown again at our thing. And usually what happens with that is that our run times are a little longer, because we do 5 to 10 minutes. Most of these competitions are like 3 to 8, which gives you a chance to create like that director's cut or a little extra, backstory that you weren't able to fit in, the limited time that you had to make it. And so all of that. And then the last box is if your film's already in the can. So how many of us make a film? It takes you years and years to make it, and then it just sits there because you don't have a festival to send it to. And with the 50-50, definitely we'd love to see your screenplay or your film up on the big screen, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how does it work for people to like enter into 50-50 and go through these rules and everything?
So you just visit the site, www.the505050fifty.com. It's pretty self-explanatory once you get on. It's pretty easy to navigate. I mean, there's a lot of reading in there to go. The easiest way is if you come across that thing that Alan was looking at, that's got all of you just click on that and it takes you straight to the homepage of that challenge that you're interested in. And after talking to you, Alan, I was trying to even streamline it more. And so starting in 2022, this week, and especially this weekend, I'll be re-changing the verbiage on the site. But at registration, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what your genre is that you want.
Yeah.
The big thing about the 50-50 is it's two genres mixed together. And then there's a prop put in there. Just to make it completely easy for people, what I want you to do when you register is you turn around and you tell me what are the two genres that you want. And once the kickoff happens, then you'll be given a prop. So everybody will have the same prop, but you're actually going to decide, for the sake of Hallows Eve, everything's horror and sci-fi. So you could sit there and go, okay, I want, a witchcraft time travel story. Okay. So you know that you're going to make a witchcraft time travel story. Now I'm going to throw in a prop that you got to fit someplace into it, but you have complete control over your story and are able to make the movie that you actually want. And if you read the rules, I mean, definitely all of the writing, I mean, you could sit here right now and start going, God, I've got a great idea for a Hallows Eve film. Definitely start writing it now so you can turn around and go, okay, when can I fit this into our production schedule and compete the 50-50? And the reason we went that direction, that you can start the clock whenever you want. You just know when it's going to premiere on the dates of the competition, is that I kept getting people that are like, God, I want the fall colors for Halloween, but 50 days at Halloween would bring us to Christmas. Right.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, the premiere's got to be in Halloween because that's the scary month and that's how we want to do it. And then I had another team that turned around and said, well, I want to do a scary movie about a Yeti. Well, then you need snow and all of that stuff. So that team, is thinking, okay, we're going to start our production in February as opposed to when everybody else starts theirs. And then, hopefully someday we'll have a Yeti film at the 50-50,
At the Hallows Eve type of thing. So you could start your clock at any point during the year, but it has to be 50 days for completion. Correct. Okay.
And so that's the big thing. And there's people out there for some reason that keep, they turn around and they give us a film and they're like, okay, this is for the 50-50. And it's like, okay, I didn't know when your clock started. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's why we created that category of it's in the can, where I'm like, okay, I understand you have a finished film and yes, we will show it, but you got to understand that we're not going to give it cash prizes because we can't verify that it was made in 50 days.
Yeah.
And
so you have to register at a point with either when you're starting, plan to start maybe, or.
Right. So with if you go to the registration page on any of these, what'll end up happening is one of the questions in the form is when do you want to start? Do you want to wait until the actual kickoff day, which is the last day, which is calculated out that you've got a full 50 days before the premiere? Or do you want to start your own date and what that date is? So you could turn around when the 48 is going to happen in June. You could turn around and go, okay, my start date's going to be June, whatever that Friday is. And then you type in, I'm doing the 48-hour film project. So then we know, okay, you're not going to know what your genre is until that night. right? But you could turn around and look at our list and go, I think for the second one, I just want it to be a thriller or a comedy or whatever, and make it as generic as possible. Knowing that once you're in the throes of the 48, it could be a mystery suspense comedy, right? Or whatever they throw at you, femme fatale, or, they've got some pretty unique oddball stuff, which makes it fun.
Yeah. Which challenge have you seen more like popularity with so far?
Oh, definitely the Hallows Eve challenge. Really? Right before COVID hit, we had our biggest show. We had 27 films.
Wow.
In competition. And I mean, it was unbelievable. We had, an animation from the UK about a little skeleton boy. We had, there's a category in there that I threw, which everybody ends up emailing sometimes, which is called real life horror. And everybody's like, I don't understand what real life horror is. What is it? And I'm like, well, pretty much pick any news story out of the headlines and you've got real life horror, right? Yeah. I mean, it's a shooter on campus. It's somebody going through the school, killing little kids. It's, a car accident. It's such a breadth of things. And from that, one of the most memorable films and whoever was at that Hallows Eve, I mean, we still talk about it every Hallows Eve when we talk about film, is there was this film from Iraq, and it was this, it's all filmed around this guy who has cerebral palsy, and it's debilitating, and, he can't really talk. And he's trying to get help is what he's trying to do, and bring these people back to his house. Well, it's filmed like any classic horror film, right? So the first time we go to the house, we don't even go into the house, and all of a sudden this guy comes running out, and then the guy's, we pick him up a couple streets down, and he's trying to get this other guy, and then that guy goes in, and the light bulb breaks, and he trips down the stairs, and then another person goes in, and he ends up getting this man to go in, and his daughter is like, "Daddy, don't go with this guy," right? And so he goes in, and as he's about to approach the house, now we see all of the equivalent of the Iraqi soldiers or SWAT team, right? They're descending on the house at the same time. Wow. And once they get downstairs, and, because the light bulb's been broken and all of that, it's now all in darkness and flashlights. And we've realized it's revealed to the audience that his mother has passed away, and he needs help getting her buried. Aww. Right? And so you go from this completely intense, on the edge of your seat going, oh my God, what's this guy doing to all of these people, to, oh my God, his mom's dead. Right. And so it's just this complete, 180 turn of emotions at the end, where you're just like, oh my God, what a great film. No
kidding.
Yeah, it's cool to see all of that. And that's what I like about the 50/50, is that it encourages, since we opened it up internationally, that we get these different flavors around the world of what is scary, or what's the drama and all of that. So
yeah. And we kind of discussed this a little when we had a little discussion, Ira, before. It was kind of like people might want to submit to multiple competitions. Like,
yeah. So
what's the deal there?
So what I'm going to do is I got to set up the link right so you can click on it. But what we'd like to do is create multiple packages. So there's two ways to look at it. One is that you could sign up for two challenges at the same time, save yourself 15%, or sign up for 3 challenges at the same time and save 25%. What those challenges are is you have the choice to either dedicate yourself and make 3 separate films or 2 separate films, or maybe take one film and ride it through to kind of take what would be the triple crown for that film if it could take the honors of 3 different things.
So that means I could make a mobile phone about a comedy action film and then put it into those 3 categories.
Right. So if you were going to do the mobile device challenge, which is going to be, I'm really interested to see that, because the rules on that is that you can tell any story that you want with the genres that you choose, but it has to be shot on a mobile device. It can't be using any expensive cameras, no tech. It's just that low.
Have you seen the iPhone films, 13 now? Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, to say it's low tech is really asinine, because the cameras nowadays in your phone are so much better than most of the equipment that most of us have.
Yeah, that neural engine.
Test for that, or like verify.
What do you mean?
Like how, like if I were to sign up for the mobile phone challenge, how can you verify then that I did in fact use my mobile phone? I'm not smart enough to try and trick someone, but I don't know if somebody else might be. Like, how do you verify, or do you just sort of assume if they signed up for this, then
do they have to put in the model that they used?
Yeah, we are going to ask for the model, because I would love to brag to people about, okay, how did you get this film?
Right.
How was it made? Kind of like if you're on any of those photography, sites, it's like, okay, I used this lens at this f-stop, and this is how I was able to, generate the image that you see.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing there. And I've got an idea for the mobile device, but mine is completely different than what we created it for. So my idea is that what I'd like to do is one take, okay, but knowing that the room of 50 people, which is either going to be like an art show or a diner, but everybody has their phones going at the same time. So you get this continuous shot of one take, but from like 80 to 85 different viewpoints.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that, how that pans out. Yeah.
Right. Which, okay. So that brings me back to the thing that I was hinting at before. So the 50-50, you'd think it would be easy to make a film in 50 days. I mean, Rocky, for Christ's sakes, was in the can after 32, right? And that's a feature film. But the problem is that with 50 days, you really do have to figure out your time and allotments in it. And the reason we really created it is that we wanted people to be able to jump from team to team and help each other out. And it became more of a networking ability for its own community. So you could work with multiple people, you could spread your knowledge, and at the same time make new connections, and hopefully that launches your career. But like this Hallows Eve, we had 3 teams that started emailing me going, okay, my boom operator got hired on a set. I've lost my sound. I can't do this.
I've had that happen.
Right. And so I've had 3 teams literally this year cancel. Right. And the problem is that it's not, you know, I feel for teams that cancel, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's 15, possibly 30 minutes of time, right, of my premiere. And so this year, I called up Ellen, our actress in the cities. Everybody knows her. But I called her and I said, I noticed you're not on the team. And she goes, no, nobody asked me and all of this. And I go, okay, I've got this concept that I want to do. And so we're calling our team a production of one pictures. And what it is that I wrote a short that she does the voiceover, and all of the footage is going to be stock footage. Okay, so it's just me and her voice talent, my writing, and then of course I'm the editor and director making all of those decisions.
Fully remote.
But I wanted to prove that you can make a film with just 2 people.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you don't, you know, yes, I feel bad that you don't have your sound person and all of that. But the fact of the matter is if you really do want to make a film, you should be able to do it.
Yeah. Problem solving is a big part of producing, and
exactly.
Productions tend to move forward or with or without people. So it's just kind of, I've done that for Z-Fest also, whether it was like acting or some other ancillary thing too. So it was just, you know, that's Minnesota too. Like, yes, 50 days probably isn't a lot given that we all have like jobs, you know, and scheduling is the next biggest thing under budgeting. So, those are the time and money are like just what those key operators that keep it moving too. So, yeah.
Right.
But I like your idea to display that you can still do it.
Right. And, you know, I mean, hopefully people enjoy it. They go, wow, you know, we can do that.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many stories that can be told. And, you know,
I wanted to jump back real quick with the, I guess, bundling option real quick. Cause I know there are 2 ways that as a filmmaker to view it is I could submit one project for 3 50/50s, or could I do 3 different films for those, or 2, or I don't know. Cause it might seem boring to get the same film over 3 events. And it's like, I've already seen this film. Why am I seeing it a 3rd time, you know?
Well, okay. So to go back to that, let's say you made one film. Okay. And the package that I'm thinking of putting in the store is a 3 package deal. If you made one film for it, we call it what I would call it is the networking film. Right. So here's the difference between the 50/50 and pretty much all these other time related things. And the sad thing is that all of us have this mindset of it's time related and I'm in competition with my people in Minnesota. For instance, there's a handful of companies and stuff like that. Okay. What if you could make a film, right? And show that 3 films. And so when you sign up for whatever challenge you want. Let's keep it generic. Okay. So you sign up for the Minnesota challenge. And then you're like, I'm thinking of moving to LA. So you sign up for the LA challenge. And you sign up for Atlanta challenge, right? So now you're in the 2 hot spots of the industry. You have a film that you can fly out and watch at the premiere and network with the local community, and you have a piece of work on the film that everybody can see and go, oh, you're the guy that made that from Minnesota? That was so cool. Right. And the reason I'm saying that that's how you should look at it is because so many of us are like, okay, I'm a local filmmaker. I'm going to show this to my local community, and then I'm going to put it to bed. And I think we should get out of that mindset and take it and go wherever. One of the best examples I can give you is there were these kids, right? They were high schoolers, and this is back when I ran the 48-hour film project, and they really wanted to compete. And this was back when we had, I think we had 87 teams in Minneapolis. The festival ran for a solid week, and then we'd have the best of. And so these two kids from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, really wanted to make a film. And I said, look, if you really want to do something amazing, don't join the Minnesota, the Minneapolis 48, because it's, 87 teams, the professionals are in there, the quality is going to be so high that you need to do other things. And if you remember, the rules to that is if you can't make it to kickoff, then the city producer turns around and gives you a call and then essentially pulls everything out of the hat for you. Right. And so I talk him into competing because remember, when I did the 48, I was a city hopper. So I was running Chicago, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, overlooking Des Moines, Madison, Milwaukee, and then I also ran the Fargo 48.
So much.
Right. and so what I did is I turned around and said, look, compete in the Fargo, because there's only, I think that year we had the most teams that we had, and it was 18 or 19 teams. I mean, it's just one show of films. And so they couldn't, of course, get up there on a Friday, right? Because to drive from Eau Claire all the way up to Fargo, North Dakota, just for a kickoff, you'd have to pull them from school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up calling his mom, and I'm like, okay, this is their genre. Here's the prop. Here's this. And she's like, okay. And then I'm like, then you just got to, get it to the turn in on Sunday. Right. And so they're rendering in the car as they make that huge drive. They shot everything on Saturday, started editing, and then they turn their stuff in on Sunday. So they're in full competition. And the coolest moment ever was that here we are in the Fargo Theater, and everybody's sitting there excited for their films. And we see all of these movies that were shot in Fargo, North Dakota. And then all of a sudden we hit the green cliffs of the St. Croix River Valley. And everybody's like, oh, where did these guys go? I mean, this is so cool. And it's like, exactly, and they ended up taking best cinematography and a couple of, of the outside technical awards, but it was so completely different than everything that we were seeing.
Yeah.
Right. And so the judges, of course, are looking at it going, no, that was, awesome that it was that way.
Yeah. Like here in Minnesota, especially around Z-Fest time, it's like a lot of snow or something. Right. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I know it's Minnesota, but if someone comes in with beaches from like California or Southern California, or like a desert shot type of thing, it's like, where'd you find the time to either go there or
right.
did you
how.
actually go there? Like,
Mhm.
are they from there? So
Right.
Yeah. Something to
I
catch
get
everybody's eye.
right. And I get it. I get that one film for like 3 states. That makes a lot of sense. The networking option. Yeah. What are the
Right.
other options then?
So the other options, would be that you could do 3 challenges, because eventually all of these challenges will become other states as well, right? So because, to get back to the thing, we've got Z-Fest in March, right? We've got the 48. Well, the 48 jumped.
Yeah, they're all kind of, this year was kind of a exception. So
yeah, so usually the 48 in Minneapolis happens in June. This year it happened in August. The
Z-Fest was March, went to June, and
right. So eventually, I think what the 50-50 will settle on is like March. I don't want to compete against Z-Fest. I love Z-Fest. In fact, I'm a judge for Z-Fest. So to me, I don't want to break that momentum, and I enjoy seeing those films and stuff.
yeah.
With March, if you think of like kick-ass action films, which is our March challenge, that's going to end up shifting to someplace else. So you'll have like, if Wisconsin decides to land in March, I don't see why, because it'll still be snow, but who knows? I mean, maybe we'll be down in Miami in March, and all of a sudden that's where the Kick-Ass Film Festival is, with the Florida challenge, right? And so it's just another way to kind of make the 50-50 a multi-night event. If there's only 12 teams in competition, hopefully we can get it up to 24, which would be a full night of viewing. I mean, part of the problem with us is, unlike the 48, when you talk of those time limits, with a 10-minute time limit, 12 films is 2 hours, right? So if it's one of those mathematical problems. It's
forget
you need the
86
teams, but you need the time, right? Exactly.
Yeah. That seems like an interesting challenge for the programmer right now.
Right.
Forget the teams, like programming, like all these teams might be different. Like you said, a full week of like films, or multiple, weekends or something.
Right.
That's a lot.
That sounds like a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm hoping to turn it into, is do that full time, and then, shoot the other stuff. I mean, which is interesting because, of course, marketing is the big key. We're going to start looking for a marketer and stuff, but then we're also, I've started to pitch to my cinematographer and stuff an idea, which is funny, an idea for the, we want to do 30-60 second shorts that are just ads about the 50-50, right?
Oh yeah.
And so once I get all of those written, actually, Rihanna, you are the person that I wanted to get your agent's info, because I've when I started writing these shorts, right, is that it's they're all promos about filmmaking and stuff like that, but then I was like, okay, I think Rihanna's the mom in all of these.
I could be such a good mom.
And then we just schedule it. So here's the short pitch of the first one that we would do, which is the generic event, is that you wake up from bed, you're going to be late, so you go to the bathroom, your husband opens up the door, right? And you punch him in the solar plexus. Go into the bathroom, shut the door, and then you come out completely fully clothed. And then as you go down the hallway, your kids are coming out and you're just punching them back into their room, your body slamming them, throwing them over the banister or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you get downstairs, go to the coffee pot, pour yourself a cup, and then you turn around and you look at the camera and you go, what do you need to make a film? Right. And so it's just short things like that.
Yep.
And then to make it, the more that I'm thinking of when we do these promos is that we just take the same setup and now we alter it for all the genres. So, horror, sci-fi, of course, now it's you drop out of bed, you're on the floor, you grab your zombie survival kit underneath the bed and you're good to go. Right. And so yeah, it's, look forward to a bunch of promo shorts.
Absolutely. That sounds super fun.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. So those will shoot hopefully next summer. And then those will be the promos for 2023.
That's really cool though. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Or we could do them all into one. Like she's filming on the phone and punches someone and then that's done. That film's done. Picks up a kitten, saves it from a tree, a little hope challenge there.
How I got the idea is I was at a film festival and they were advertising for it was a UK film festival there. And so what the premise was is this lady is driving, right? And she's got her kid in the back and her kid's just kind of drawing on this tablet and stuff. And then the police are there and so they're coming up to pass the car, right? And all of a sudden the board comes up and it says, "Help me." Right. And he instantly slams on his brakes, hits the lights, pulls the mom over. And then he's like, "Hey, and he's starting to come up to the window and ask her all the questions and stuff. And then he's like, "Hey, your daughter's really cute and stuff." And she mouths the words, "That's not my mommy," And then he's like, "Out of the car, lady," blah, blah, blah. Right. And then it just goes to this evil smile on this little girl. And it says, "What do you need to make drama?" Right. And I'm like going, oh my God, what a great promo for a film festival.
That's fantastic.
It is. It's just fantastic. So we're going to do a 50-50 slice of that where it's, just
love that.
Yeah. Get people to make films. That's what it's about.
Exactly.
Well, do you have anything else to add, Ira? Anything else that you want to talk about with the 50-50 that we haven't covered?
Nothing that I can think of. I mean, just, any questions, just go to either the Facebook page or the site itself. And, we respond pretty much within, maybe an hour, 2 hours most, but we try to stay on top of all connections.
So for Hallows Eve, it looks like that's set for, well, like you said, mid to late October.
Yeah. So it'll probably end up being on October 27th, which is a Wednesday. And we've got 12 teams, like I said, 12 teams in full competition. It's going to be a show to watch.
Okay, we look forward to seeing where that will be and what time and all that, hopefully.
Yep.
In the coming weeks, since this comes out in October. So
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Ira, thank you so much for taking the time to join us again. We've loved having you and loved learning all about the new exciting things happening with 50-50. Even through the pandemic, I love how much it's growing and expanding and all the exciting things that opportunities you're really presenting to filmmakers. This is very exciting. So thank you.
Good. Yep.
Awesome. And until next time, I'm Rahana Power. Alan's on mute, but he's Alan Tracy. And this is Film Minnesota. So thanks so much. See you next time.